Okay, who are you and how did you benefit humans?
I'm the Industrial Revolution, and I benefited humans because I helped. I was an era of innovation, and I helped better people's lives through various methods, including new and improved inventions, population growth and change, as well as the availability of new jobs and better wages for workers.
Explain the assembly line.
The assembly line was a method of building or manufacturing that was used during the time to help provide more jobs and allow for workers to specialize at a certain task and create a better wage.
What happened to the population during this time?
During this time, the population grew rapidly from new medicine, foods, and a decrease in diseases, war-related problems, and famine. And a population shift occurred from rural to urban population.
What happened to the number and quality of jobs at this time?
During this time, because of assembly lines and factories, the number of jobs went up because they need more workers to help work in factories, work the assembly lines, and included the selling and transportation of the new products being made.
What were social relations like during this time?
During this time, a new middle class arose, and there was less. A middle class arose, and
what were social relations like during this time?
Well, there was still the poor class and the aristocrats. There was a new growing middle class. More wealth was distributed evenly, and there was less discontent between the groups because they were starting to even out and become equal.
No further questions.
In your witness statement, you said that conditions that people worked in were less than perfect, but it really doesn't compare to the other positives brought along with by it. But can you explain that workers were affected by physical deformities?
Like everything that happens has a good and bad. I was one thing that in the long run ended up with good. And there may have been some bad things, but looking at it, there's other positives like new ideas and movements like capitalism, socialism, and new reforms to help prevent that and stop that from going on. So it wasn't continuously going on. That was for a small period of time that was quickly fixed.
You also said it's clear that the Industrial Revolution was beneficial to the human race. So are you saying that diseases such as cholera, tuberculosis, and smallpox were beneficial to the human race?
They were not beneficial, but there was new vaccines created during this time to help prevent them and stop them from hurting the human society.
You also said that there was an increase in population and a shift from rural to urban living. But as cities became overly populated, these diseases spread rapidly and killed many, but it also forced poor upkeep, like crime rates increasing.
Well, every city has its problems, like crime, so you can't completely get rid of it. And then the diseases, there's a lot of people, yes, but there's new buildings being built trying to create better conditions for those people, and those people had money to improve their situations.
Okay, we have our surprise evidence.
Okay.
Can we just bring it up to her?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if we can show.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
kind of explain and then tell us, and then we can pass it around.
Okay, so these are the charts and the data that represent the pollution and chemicals that increased during this time. So here you have the carbon dioxide, the start of the Industrial Revolution, and as even till today, it's still increasing. And this is not only where it started in England, but also in Hawaii and in Russia. And then this is the same thing, just showing how much carbon dioxide actually increased from this time.
I'm gonna pass this to.
Oh, this is also, it's pretty much the same graph, but it's not just disease, but it's also like coal, water, and how like fossil fuels went, there's an increased amount of them, and then renewable sources went down, and then they started using more non-renewable sources of energy.
Can you pass this around?
Yes, our jurors need to see this. This is yesterday's evidence. Do you need the defendant to respond to the evidence in any way?
What'd you say?
Do you need the defendant to respond to the evidence in any way?
if you want, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you say that CO2 emissions increased during this time. That may be true, but before then, we were using our primary source of oxygen, wood, as fuel, building materials, and everything else. So by stopping that and transferring to CO2, we are allowing more trees to grow, which is taking away the carbon dioxide being produced. Therefore, we're not taking away our oxygen. We may be creating some, but the trees that we are not using are getting rid of the CO2 emissions.
Yeah, but now you're adding pollution with carbon dioxide now.
Well, there's always been a little bit of CO2. Even when you burn a fire, there was emissions.
But that was there's like a major increase in it.
Yeah, but we're not using the trees, which can take away the CO2 emissions.
No further questions.
Okay. So with that, we have 5 minutes. So we'll do 2 minutes. Jurors, I'm going to need to speak with you briefly. Witnesses, while you're preparing, making sure you're ready for your closing, we're going to go prosecution, then defense. You can stay up here. Can you guys finalize your information before you leave class? Put your notes packet